Hi everybody, and welcome to the Rough Draft Challenge. Yay! So in November, the first day of November, which is today, the idea is for like National Novel Writing Month, which is in November, is that you write a book, 50,000 words in a month. I've decided not to use the website anymore and stuff. There's a lot of questionable business practices and things like that I'm not going to get into, but Sarah Cannon, who is a self-published author on YouTube, came up with this new rough draft challenge, and it actually fits a little bit better with what I plan on doing anyways. I have on numerous occasions gotten the 50,000 words in the month and stuff like that, but for this particular challenge I'm actually going to set myself up for trying to get my book completely edited. So if you haven't watched any of my other previous videos, I am trying to become a self-published author. 2, I also do pottery and run my own pottery business, and that's kind of where the majority of my income comes from. I'm kind of just new to getting into the writing and publishing and stuff like that. But I did finish my final draft of my book, and it came out to almost 60,000 words. I am an underwriter, so I plan on it being a lot more than that. I tend to just get all the plot out first and then go back and add the details and the setting and stuff like that. So that's probably the majority of what I'm going to be doing. There's a few little developmental tweaks and things like that I need to do. Some chapters need to change. And I'm getting rid of a character. That's kind of the plan, is I want to be done with November and have a mostly edited draft. And I say edited, I mean developmentally edited, so that I can send it off to beta readers and stuff. I will do line by line edits and spelling and punctuation and stuff if I see it, but it's not going to be my focus. What needs to happen with this story is developmental editing, and so that is what I plan on doing for Nano. I've been working on the first scene. I got about 500 words edited. It's not exactly the way I want, but I did get some work done today. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get a ton of work done with actually getting my editing done for the draft, because I have, super nerdy Dungeons and Dragons group get together tonight, and that's when I do a lot of my editing and stuff like that, is either in the mornings when my kids are at school, or I do them at night when they're in sleep. So yeah, so that's kind of where we're at with that, is I won't really have the evening to do anything, so I'm probably going to be playing catch up a little bit tomorrow. I'm still working on how to manage both of my passions and so I think it's just going to be a little bit of a learning curve, especially this month, where I'm going to be, the big focus is going to be the writing. I do have pottery and stuff that still needs to get done, and it does need to get to the local shop I'm in by the 21st, but I think I'm doing mostly easy things like ornaments and bump cups and things like that, and I'm not doing any super ornate pieces. So keeping that in mind, I'm hoping that I can kind of switch gears and have more of a writing focus, and then pottery is the second, because the majority of the time pottery is definitely the focus and the writing is kind of the second. So we're going to switch it up a little bit for the rough draft challenge, and yeah, but you will get both in my vlogs. I do both, and I will show you little clips of what I'm working on in my pottery studio, and you also get to see what I'm working on with my writing, so you can look forward to that. Hi everybody. So I'm a little worn out today. We had a late night playing Dungeons and Dragons, so usually I would try to take today off, but the pottery decided it needed to get trimmed. The rest of the bump cups that I threw need to get trimmed, and then I have handle to put on, that one mug that I have, and that's all I'm gonna do today, just because I'm super tired. But I do plan on coming back in the studio tomorrow to do a bunch of throwing. It's supposed to be about the same temperature, so I don't think it'll be too bad to come out here and throw. And I'll be making bump cups and the Christmas trees. I'm planning on making coning the clay and making Christmas trees, and then you know, carving out things, you know, out of the clay so that it looks kind of, you know, it's more a luminary. So, you know, you put a candle under it and it can kind of cast cool shadows and stuff. So I plan on making some of those too, and ornaments. I do need to make some ornaments too. I didn't get to those when I'd meant to. So yeah, so that's what we're gonna do today. I'm just gonna take it a little easier. Just gonna put a handle on a mug, trim some more bump cups, and we'll call it there for like the pottery aspect of today. Alright, we've got all the bump cups trimmed, and we've got the handle put on. Now we're just kind of going to let them slow dry until they're ready to go in the kiln for a bisque fire. Which will probably be a while because I do want to do some more throwing tomorrow and stuff. So they might be waiting another week or two before they actually get bisque fired. Now that I have the big kiln, I can kind of stick them all in the same kiln and fire them all at once. So yeah, so these ones will have a while to dry, and then they will get bisque fired, glazed, and then glaze fired. Hi everybody! Getting clay on myself. Okay, today is day 3 of the rough draft challenge, and day 3 of me trying to get all of my pottery done. I guess, I don't know what day it is for me trying to get all my pottery done for the From Here store, but today I thought I would start, I'm in the studio, I would start with making ornaments because I've been meaning to make ornaments and having them on my to-do list pretty much every single day that I've recorded. And then not actually done it. So we're going to start with the ornaments first, and then I'm going to get into throwing. And that's pretty much all I have today. I did actually get a decent amount of writing and editing done yesterday. And I did work a little bit on my my book Bible thing, you know, for the rough draft challenge. I have a bit of a headache today, and so I think if I push myself to do the screens and the writing and the typing and all that stuff, I just don't think it'll go well, and I think I'll be even worse tomorrow. So I thought maybe I would probably just work in my book Bible journal thing for the novel, like getting character names down, really doing more of the world building and stuff I should have done before I started writing Eyes of Pewter. Like I've said before, I have been writing that book for so long that I kind of just know things and kind of just, you know, I've spent so long writing it that I just assume things and just stuck with things that I have been doing and things like that, and I haven't actually sat down and wrote it all down and thought it all out really. And so I think that's probably what I'm going to be doing for the rough draft challenge. I know it's not exactly what I had planned, and it'll probably put me behind on like my word count, editing word count that I'm trying to get to. But I think that's a better way to go today with my headache being so bad and stuff. Alright, so we got the ornaments done. I still have like one ornament from last year, which I will be taking to. So that gives me about like 3 or 4 Christmas trees, a couple of circles. I did some stars, one snowman. I wasn't sure if people wanted snowmans or not, so we'll try one this year and see if it sells or not. And that's kind of what I do to like test markets and stuff if I'm not quite sure. I don't usually make a ton. I will make like a couple of them and see how they do. What I also did was I used a high temp wire. I just think it looks nicer than putting holes in the ornaments. You know, for ribbon. Not that there's anything wrong with putting holes in the ornaments. I guess it's more of like my personal aesthetic. I just like them better without the holes in the ornaments. So I usually just use a high temp wire that can go in the kiln. It can even be glaze fired, like it goes up to that high of a temperature. And you know, it works, and you can thread like ribbon through it and stuff like that. And I use that to like have the ornaments hang by. So I did go ahead and put the wire in and cut them all out, as you saw. As far as throwing goes, this will probably be the last session I have before I start making stuff for the new year. So yeah. Hi everybody, so it is day 5. Yes, it's day 5 of the rough draft challenge, where I'm trying to go through and edit the book that I just finished. But anyways, I finished it, and so now I'm just kind of in the process of trying to edit every day and get into the habit of editing and get through stuff. So I will admit it's been a little slow going. I ended up not really getting anything done yesterday. I didn't record, didn't do... It was just like a lot of business stuff. You know, like I had to, you know, check in with City Hall about some stuff in my studio to make sure that was all squared away, and then, you know, voting in the US and things like that. It was just a lot, so I didn't get a lot done. As far as like, you know, editing and stuff like that. So that's okay though, that's okay, because I actually have a huge chunk of time today to get editing done, writing done, things like that. So part of the reason why it's a little slow going for me is because I do need to rewrite the beginning chapters. Like I said, I'm not like getting rid of the character, but the character is no longer present in the beginning chapters. I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I mean, it is good for me to not sit there and just go over the same scene over and over and over and over again, because I can, and I do. I do feel like there's something missing. I feel like it's a little too short for that scene, and there's not enough action in it, especially for it to be like the first scene. There is some, but like I feel like the action needs to be a little bit more. I just can't quite figure out how to make it a little bit more exciting. I ended up getting about 796 words for the rewritten scene. I'm going to go through and edit it. It's not finished. I do need to finish writing it. I'm going to edit it here and then finish writing it. I'm hoping to get this scene done. It is a longer scene. I think it's going to end up being over 1,000 words when I get done with it. Yeah. That's just kind of what I'm working on today. It's just going to be a lot of editing, a lot of rewriting scenes. Maybe if I can think of how to go about doing the first scene and changing it a little bit so it's a little bit more exciting. So I needed a brain break. I worked on it for about 3 hours. I didn't get as far as I wanted to. Yeah, I think these first couple of chapters are just gonna take me a while, and I'm just gonna have to, you know, deal with how long it takes me. So I ended up working on this one. And so this is going to be kind of like my resource book Bible thing for my story. So what I did was I went through and kind of broke it all out with what I want the different pages to be. Shout out to Sarah Cannon. I did watch her video on how she did hers. I did mine a little differently, just because, you know, I kind of made it to what would work best for me and how I write and what I have a hard time remembering. This is going to be a 3-book series. I made a page for each of the kind of summaries I plan on each of the books being about, so I can make sure that I'm not like repeating myself or saying the same things twice. And then of course the big one is the character list. So I actually have this broken up by like main characters. I have a couple of groups that are in this book, so I'm kind of breaking them up that way too. Like I do have my main characters, but I do have a lot of side characters as well, and the side characters are also part of like organizations and stuff. So I gave myself a lot of pages for the character lists, and so I could kind of organize them in each list they belong to, because again, this is one of my problems, is that I don't remember names very well. Even sometimes I'll forget like main character names. It's just not something that sticks into my head. So I knew that was going to have to be a big section for me, something that I was going to have to really have a lot of information about so that I don't forget that. And then of course, I did key locations too. Again, a lot of this is going to be like names of the places and like the history of the place and stuff like that, because I know that I'm really bad at remembering the names. I also gave myself some mind map brain dump pages. Sometimes I do mind maps, sometimes I find I just need a page to just write everything I'm possibly thinking about that has to do with that particular thing. So I gave myself a lot of those pages. I also did like a plot dashboard just so that I can kind of keep track of each of the scenes and whether or not they're flowing well together and stuff. Because the way I write, and this is just kind of what works in my brain, is in order to stay organized, I do use Scrivener, and I kind of compartmentalize them all. So I'll do either a scene or a chapter and kind of break them each up between scenes and chapters. And of course the scenes and the chapters flow into each other, which is probably something I'm going to have to really make sure I do really well when I'm reading through the whole thing, because I've, compartmentalized it so much. But it's just what works for me in my brain. It makes it easier for me to be like, I just gotta get this scene done or this chapter done. Or it also makes it easier for me to edit, because I can go back and I can be like, all right, I know this particular scene had some issues, let's change them. And it also lets me leave notes to myself. So like in parentheses, I'll be like, this scene needs work here and here and here and stuff like that. I find it's just what works best for me, but I know everybody else is different. I just personally like it to be broken up like that, but I could see that driving some people crazy. So I have all of that. So I did make sure to like make a plot dashboard and stuff, just because I will need to make sure that they're all flowing together nicely. I think that's going to be something that might be a little bit of a struggle with how I've broken everything up. And then I did add a section called History of the World and Places. I did add History of the World and Places because I needed a section, because this is a book I've been writing for a really long time. I don't actually have anywhere where I have the history written out. There I have like even just ancient history, because in this world, it's not quite industrial. It is definitely fantasy, but the magic system kind of makes it so that they have the ability to run stuff, I mean, like, not exactly steampunk, but yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but I did want to like have like earlier histories and stuff, and even if it doesn't end up in the book, I just want it for me so that I know when I'm referencing something, I know how it got there, I know what happened, things like that. So I did make a section for that. I put random ideas and questions to answer. I have a section for that, because sometimes I just have random things pop into my head and then I'm like, have I dealt with that? Is that a problem? And so I can kind of go back and answer those questions or issues that I thought the book might have or that I might have forgotten about. Let's see what else we got. Oh, and then I did make this little thing here. I don't know if you guys can see it. I know the screen's really bright, but that is just like thing so I can keep track of my writing and editing sessions, which I will need to fill that out today. So I can kind of see on average how I do, like writing versus editing. I really want to know whether or not editing takes me longer than writing, because I would think that editing doesn't take as long, but like I thought that editing wouldn't take me as long. But the fact that I've spent 3 hours and I've only really edited 1,443 words, it makes me think that maybe editing is actually going to take me longer. I don't know, but maybe I'm just having a day where my brain's working a little slower, or maybe it's because I am trying to write and edit at the same time with these beginning chapters. So I did kind of want to keep track of that so that I know for the future when I write future books or edit future books, I kind of have a good estimate as to how long it takes me to do things. I do know that if I give myself like 2 hours, I can usually get over 1,000 words written. But yeah, I'm not sure how that works with editing. But yeah, as we stand, I'm going to have to pretty much do at least 1,000 to 2,000 words a day in editing to be able to get done by the end of November. Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it works out. Hi everybody, so it is day 6. I don't know if I've been saying what days it is, but it's day 6 of the Rough Draft Challenge. So a little bit of an overview of where I'm at. Not where I wanted to be, really. I've gotten through chapter 1, I've gotten all the scenes edited and stuff. I did actually end up rewriting them a couple of times, which has kind of slowed me up a little bit. I did think that was probably going to be a problem, just because so much of the beginning of my book needs to get rewritten, that I think that's part of the reason why I'm having such a slow start to, you know, getting these words and stuff edited. But I did get chapter 1 completely done, edited, like where it's at for at least like baby readers and stuff to read. I actually put it through my like editing program, just to make sure like it catches all my spelling and punctuation and all that, because Griffin's program doesn't do that very well. So I did put it through an editing program just to like catch all the things that I don't catch, right? And so yeah, so I know chapter 1 is good to go. I like where it's at. I don't feel like it's perfect, but it's pretty close. It's at least closer than I have been with how I want the beginning to go. So right now I am working on chapter 2. And I've got about 588 words. I'm gonna try to get this scene done, which is basically, it's technically 2 scenes, but it really, I'm kind of just writing it as one for chapter 2, and I'm hoping to get through all of it today. Just get through having the scene done, writing the scene, at least getting it where it needs to be, where it will be good, because this is the, like, chapter 1 and 2 are the 2 that I knew were going to kind of be a challenge because they needed to get rewritten, and I was kind of writing out a character. And so, yeah, but after that, most of the chapters are kind of what I want them to be, kind of have the basic plot, the basic dialogue, so a lot of it's just going to be like specifically edits. I have about an hour before we pick up kids, and then we're going to be going to the book fair and stuff, so that'll be fun. Kind of a nice reprieve, and I was just really like taking the kids to the book fair. It's like one of my favorite things to do. And both of my kids are pretty big reader. Well, one of them can't read, but the other one is a pretty big reader like me. So there's never enough books in his room to read. He also is like me, and he rereads a lot of his books too. So I know if I get them that, you know, he's gonna read them several times. So, but anyways, so we've got the book fair later. So I'm just gonna try to just knock this out, get this chapter done as close as I can to getting it done. And then, yeah, that's what we'll do today. We'll try to get that done. And then I have been checking on the pottery. It's still not quite there. I think the ornaments might be ready to like work on and carve and stuff in the next day or two. The bump cups still got a ways to go before they're ready to get trimmed, as far as like the pottery aspect of what I'm doing. But yeah, so we're still in the waiting game with the pottery. It's still not quite ready to go to the next steps. So while that's drying, we're just gonna try to get as much editing done as we can. So that is the plan for today. Alright, so back with an update. I got about 1,268 words written total, and I did get this scene done. Now, it's not exactly what I want it to be. I'm definitely going to have to go back and edit it. I think it's where I want it to be as far as like what happens, plot, things like that. I think going back and editing is just going to be a lot more tweaking and stuff, so I am happy I actually got that done. Yeah, I feel like I got a decent amount done, and now we're 2 chapters into the edits for my book. It's getting there. So like I said, I'm going to stop the vlog there for this week, and we'll pick it up again. You know, next week it'll be on Thursday. I'll start recording and letting you know how it's going, you know, in the next week. But we're going to stop it there for this week. And I think I didn't get as much done as I wanted this week with the rough draft challenge, and of course not with the pottery either. I don't think I ever get enough pottery done. I probably spend every day out there, and I would feel like I never have enough pottery for this time of year. But anyways, yeah, so that's where we got to. Hopefully next week we'll get even further and I will have gotten more done with the edits and stuff, and I'm really hoping that I get like further along in the story than I managed to this time, and that it's just like the rewriting these chapters that's kind of put kind of like a hiccup in it, you know. So yeah, we'll stop there, and I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next week for more rough draft challenges and more pottery updates. Yeah, bye.